Welcome to the Trainer Talk, where we discuss topics related to health and fitness to help you gain back control of your health and fitness and become the absolute best version of yourself physically and mentally. Enjoy.
Today we are focusing on simple nutrition hacks. So how we can take what we're currently doing and just make the choices better to bring lesser calories, a little bit more protein, and just make a little bit better choice overall rather than trying to overhaul and make these huge big changes that they have a lot of resistance at first. So making simple swaps that can feel a lot easier than just changing your whole diet as a whole.
Yeah. Without, a lot of times, especially the new year, people are trying a lot of new things. We've talked about this the last few talks. People usually go out a little bit too aggressive, and it's not always realistic, and it can be overwhelming. And so what we want to talk about today is making super simple adjustments to basically your current habits. And we like to call it habit stacking. So whatever you're currently doing for your, daily routine, we want to just make minor tweaks to improve those habits just a little bit so that long-term you can get better results. And honestly, we'd like to make it to the point where you hardly even notice that you're doing anything different. And I'll start with an example. Me and DeLorean were talking with his client yesterday, and the first thing he does two things in the morning. I'm not sure if it was the morning for the chocolate milk, but the first thing in the morning is he basically beelines it for the fridge and he cracks a Diet Coke. And so obviously stop drinking so much pop would be a very high priority, but it can be really hard if you've been doing it for years and years and years to just cut out
cold turkey.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's an avoidance goal. And we talked about that. That can be very hard to do. Cutting out sugar, cutting out carbs, cutting out pop, cutting out, etc. Those things are hard to do. So what I told him was put a glass of water or a bottle of water next to your Coke and just make sure you drink that first before you have your Coke. And you can still have the Coke. Mm-hmm. But what that's going to do is over time, if he gets used to drinking more water before he drinks pop, he's going to drink less pop in the long run. It's just going to naturally kind of happen without him actually making any real sacrifice. And another thing that we did was he drinks chocolate milk. And so he has a glass of milk and he puts Hershey's syrup in there, mixes it up, and it has chocolate milk. So we hooked him up with our chocolate ice cream flavored protein powder. And 100% honesty, I think it tastes exactly like chocolate milk powder, like Nesquik chocolate milk powder. It's almost identical. And so he can mix that with his milk or his water, and he's still getting the same flavor, satisfaction from it without it being so unhealthy. Mm-hmm. So very minor tweaks to the same habits that he's doing, but it's a little bit healthier for him. And in the long run, he can build off that and continue to make improvements. So it's just all about starting really small and making subtle improvements from there. So what's something else that somebody could do, for making small habit changes when it comes to, kicking off the new year, eating healthier, things like that?
I have a bunch, but we'll start with kind of the grocery store. So one thing is shopping the perimeter of the grocery store. On the perimeter, you have all your fresh produce, your meats, your poultry, mostly, your fresh foods, the healthier, more whole foods on the perimeter of the grocery store. So if you try to stay around the perimeter and get all your groceries from there instead of wandering into the middle, and you happen to run by, some Hostess or something, you're like,
Oreos
or
graham crackers.
Yeah. So, trying to stay around the perimeter of the grocery store. And then another one is don't go shopping hungry, because you're going to make maybe some not ideal decisions if you're going to the grocery store super hungry. When you pick up a thing of Oreos or something and then you realize, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And you just did it because you were super hungry and it sounded good at the time.
So how could we habit stack that? So two things that I can think of, and maybe you have more, but you're going to the grocery store regardless. That's going to be a habit. You probably go once a week, maybe twice a week. So instead of just going in there and looking at your list, like Lauren said, the first thing to do, get in the habit of shopping the perimeter first, filling your cart with all the healthy stuff first before you go through and get everything else.
Mhm.
That could be one simple adjustment that makes you get more healthy stuff, and maybe you would avoid grabbing so much of the unhealthy stuff.
Yeah.
So just simply start with the perimeter, go all the way around before you go in between the aisles.
Mhm.
So that could be a simple hack. The other simple hack would be, if you're getting ready to go to the grocery store, have a light snack. So have like a healthy snack before you even go to the grocery store. That could be a little, maybe next to your grocery list, you put a protein bar, a protein shake, an apple, a banana, something kind of healthy. One, you're going to eat a healthy snack, but then two, you're not going to be hungry and buy a bunch of junk while you're shopping. So that can be a double whammy, just right there.
Yeah. And sticking to your list.
Yeah.
I mean, most people make a list. Not everybody. If you don't make a list, you should.
There's another hack, right?
Yeah. So, and then just sticking to it. Not, try your best anyways. Yeah.
Or what I do is I just do with Walmart pickup.
Yeah.
And
you can't shop the aisles.
There
you don't shop the aisles. You just you put on what you need. You go, you pick it up. Doesn't matter if you're hungry or not, because it's not like, they load the stuff in the back, and then you go home and then you unload it and it's all done. And then you're not buying unnecessary things that you don't really need. You're not shopping around the inside and finding some different new things. I always end up buying more stuff than I came for if I go into the store. And then two, I wanted to bring up on the shopping the perimeter and stuff like that. There's in precision nutrition, there's a first law of nutrition is, if it's in your house, you're going to eat it. Whether it's good food that supports your goals, or whether it's the foods that's not going to support your goals. So whether it's you eating it or somebody else eating it, you're probably going to eat it at some point if it's there. If it's not there, there's a lot less likely of a chance for you to actually go out and go buy a Snickers bar or cookies or things like that. You'd actually have to make an extra effort to go and get those things. Which there's nothing wrong with having those foods in there as long as you can control your amounts. And that's one of my tips, is to, if you are going to have treat foods in your house, make them smaller portion sizes. So little 100-calorie packs or something like that, or the little snack size. Single servings.
Never take the whole bag into the living room with you. Pour yourself a bowl of chips, or put whatever your little snack is, make sure you actually create a serving and then put it away. Because if you take the whole bag of chips or the whole bag of candy or the whole bag of trail mix into the living room with you and you're watching TV, you're going to mindlessly just devour more than you should.
Yeah, and then on that is using smaller plates, bowls, utensils. If we use large forks, large spoons, you can fit a lot more food onto it. And so if you just have a smaller fork and a smaller spoon, you just can't eat as fast. So you eat slower without actually trying to. And then if you have, if you start with a smaller bowl, you could always go back and get seconds if you're still hungry.
Right.
But as long as you follow the portions that we always talk about with your hands and fists and whatnot, and you put that on your plate, you feel like you've got this mound of food on a tiny plate. So you feel like you're still getting a lot. Or using smaller meal prep containers too. That's another good one.
I love the small utensils. I've never heard that.
Yeah, I learned about that.
And we talk a lot about slowly eating.
Yeah.
And waiting enough time to make sure you're full before you go back and grab more. Yeah. And that's one great way to solve that issue right there.
It's you use a tiny salad fork. Because first I bought just this generic ones for the house from Walmart, and I was these are really tiny forks, I'm never going to use these. And then I was I learned that hack, and with the small spoons and everything, and I was oh, that's actually smart. Maybe I should just use the smaller utensils. And it does take longer to eat because you can't fit as much food on there.
Yeah.
And so you're not shoveling food in your mouth. You actually have to take a little bit more time for it.
Yeah, smaller bowl, smaller plate, smaller utensils, and then you're going to eat less and feel fuller. And
that's like me when I buy the biggest bowl I can find in Walmart for my bowl of cereal.
Yeah,
right? And
or the opposite when we're trying the game.
Yeah, they're the opposite.
Mass.
They're give me the big bowls and big
spoons I can get. Yeah, that's funny.
Yep.
Yeah. Another one that's good is that you don't even really have to think about. It's just swapping what you're using as like a base. So swapping your regular noodles for zucchini or like spaghetti squash noodles, and then swapping out rice for cauliflower rice. That's a good way to do it, just to like you can still keep volume in your food, but you're also getting an extra serving of veggies, and you can still have like spaghetti or whatever else you want to make with that. And then swapping out, like cutting half the carbs of the meal. So do like an open faced sandwich instead of like 2 pieces of bread. Or like if you're gonna have a burger, like just take the top of the bun off.
Mhm.
Or like sloppy joes or whatever, just to cut down a little bit on calories. That's one way to do it too.
Good idea.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like what you had said before we started the podcast, like an easy way, like if you're somebody that is a sweet person, maybe you like chocolate or candy bars or something like that, just swap it out for like a chocolate protein bar.
Yeah.
I personally, after you've gone enough time without candy or candy bars, like protein bars anymore, they taste phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they are a treat.
There's
like
some of them that are
The Built Bars
fantastic.
are like
I-
a candy bar. I don't even buy
use
them because I'd
them.
overeat them.
Yeah, I use them as a treat. They're our snack after a meal sometimes, or between meals. I have a protein bar. Like even for me, the RX bars with that little bit of dark chocolate chips in there,
Yeah.
like that's a treat to me. So
Yeah.
if you can just swap out some of the maybe more unhealthy food choices for just a slightly healthier one,
Mhm.
you know, like you mentioned, instead of a granola bar, because some people might think granola bars are actually healthy and they're advertised as kind of healthy,
Yeah.
but they're primarily just there's quite a bit of added sugars and there's not very much protein at all, maybe 2
Yeah.
or 3 grams. Swap it out for a higher protein bar or like an RX bar. I like the RX bars because they're only 5 ingredients, so they're not super highly processed. I know what's in there.
It's like dates,
Egg whites,
almonds, egg whites, dark chocolate,
and
and
sea salt.
yeah.
Yeah. So I know that it's going to be a little better option for me. It's quick, it's easy, and I still get the hit of chocolate.
Mhm.
So it's still like a treat.
Mhm.
So
Another good one is honey.
yeah.
That you, like kind of a tool you can use
Or
to,
berries
or
and stuff like
berries.
fruit. Like
to curb that
Yeah.
sweet tooth. Like I was talking to one of my clients this morning, and he just loves honey. He would do like tablespoons of peanut butter with honey on top. So once you get to double digit number of those, that might become a problem. But yeah,
it is a great treat though.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, good ingredients, but
Yeah.
portion sizes
Right.
again. So I mean, honey though could be definitely honey on your toast or bagel, or even just like I've used honey for a quick hit of energy before on my runs, so it's also good for that.
One of my favorite desserts, and I don't make it a whole lot anymore, but is about a half cup of oats, dry oats. I'll cook that.
Mhm.
Handful of blueberries, usually like an eighth or a quarter cup of pecans, and then I'll mix the vanilla ice cream prestige powder in there,
Mhm.
and then a little bit of honey on it,
That
and
sounds
it is phenomenal.
So it's like
It's
oatmeal.
kind of like a what are those parfaits, like the yogurt
Oh, yeah.
parfaits with the fruit and the granola and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like
That's
that.
good.
It's just like a vanilla ice cream flavored with blueberries and honey.
and
And
healthier.
then we got my oats to give it a thickness. And it's super healthy. Yeah, there's nothing unhealthy about it, really. Some people might say it's got quite a bit of sugar, but I mean,
Well,
at least it's coming from
real.
raw organic honey, literally from Deckerville, and blueberries.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and it's controlled amounts.
Yeah.
You're not like having a ton of it, and you're gonna feel full afterwards. Whereas
Yep.
if you had like Swedish fish, like that source of sugar, like you're not full at all afterwards.
yeah.
So that's one huge thing with that. One thing would just be making smarter choices when you're going out to eat too. If you do go out to eat a lot, or if you get lunch and you order from somewhere, like instead of going to McDonald's or someplace where you're going to get 1,000 calories in a meal, do like a 6-inch Subway sub, or order a sandwich or a wrap from the restaurant, and maybe ask them to put the dressing on the side. So then that way you can control how much is added on there. And then same thing for like going out to eat for a restaurant, like get your protein and like just try not to have a super carb heavy option.
Yeah.
Have
Shout
a little more
out.
vegetables.
I
Actually,
was gonna shout them out, but
go what?
shout out Mint for having a couple.
Yeah.
healthy lunch
Yeah.
menu items.
Yeah, we'll be sharing their menu pretty soon here. Excited about that, to have some healthier lunch options in Sandusky.
Yeah, that's huge.
And even with that being said, when you are eating a meal, something that I've actually kind of always done more out of a satisfaction thing, but like I'll start with the vegetable and then the protein and then the carb, because usually that's the order of like the flavor. Like I want to save the best for last, right? So eat like the healthiest stuff on your plate first, and then you can avoid overeating, or like maybe, if you started with your favorite food and then ended with veggies and then you were full and you didn't eat any veggies, it's a simple way to get more vegetables in and not overeat is if you start with the vegetable and then you kind of work your way down from there.
That's the nice part about, like, if you do go out to eat and they have the option of like super salad first, like get the salad first to like load up on veggies. That way you're like a little bit fuller by the time your meal comes. That's a good way to do it. And then making, like, if you just made half your plate vegetables for dinner or for lunch or whatever, like it cuts down the amount of space left on your plate for other foods.
That are more calorically dense.
More calorically dense. So then at least, you're getting a good serving of vegetables. And even if you have, a less ideal meal, like maybe it's not, salmon and sweet potatoes that you have on the side, maybe it is like a hamburger or something like that you cook at home, then at least, you're getting that good nutrition with it. You're getting a little bit more full. And then it kind of takes out some of the calories that you would have had if you had, tater tots or French fries as a side.
I'll add in one, just kind of shifting over to water, staying hydrated. Like I have felt this before and I've heard it many times. Like you can confuse being thirsty for being hungry sometimes. So if you're not hydrated enough, you might get that feeling and your brain might tell you like, oh, I need some food, when in reality you just need some water when you're dehydrated. And it also kind of keeps you a little bit filled up more, I would say. I feel like when
especially
I'm
if
drinking
you drink water with a meal.
So
go ahead.
That was one of my tips, just to like drink a glass of water before a meal.
There you go.
So habit stack. That's what I was going to say, is like habit stack. How can you get more water in? Have it available. Like what we said with your client, like we put more water right next to the Diet Cokes, have a water right at the counter. Maybe the first thing you do is have a cup of coffee. Stick a bottle of water out there just to remind you to have water before you have your coffee, or, fill up a shaker bottle every night, put it in the fridge, top shelf where you can see it. And something else I wanted to say, speaking of that, in grocery shopping is like, for one, if you can do a grocery pickup, I would recommend it, like you said. And then when you get home, when you're organizing your fridge, try to organize it to where all the healthiest foods is right eye level. And then put all the more unhealthy options kind of more harder to reach areas. If you've got all your most unhealthy foods right there, as soon as you open the fridge, you're more likely to grab it and have it than reach into the vegetable drawer at the very bottom and grab celery and peanut butter or something like that. So make a veggie bucket is another tip that we learned from our nutrition coach, Jen Broxterman. So as soon as you get home with all your vegetables, cut them up, dice them up, prepare them, put them in Tupperware, put them eye level. That way you can just grab a quick snack whenever you open the fridge up if you're hungry. So I think that's a big thing too, because like you said earlier, like if it's available and you see it, odds are you're going to have it. I'm really bad with self-control. So like if I've got it in the house, I'm probably going to eat it. So I just try not to keep it in my house, or I hide it so that I don't notice it every day. Maybe I limit it to just a couple times a week. So those are definitely the big tips that I wanted to point out.
I'm kind of like, if it's in the house, I might not eat it, but if I have one, then I have to have a bunch. So it's like kind of that snowball effect as soon as I have one. But again.
Another tip would be just choosing lighter versions of like cheese and salad dressings, or like leaner cuts of meat, because then that just cuts down on like the overall fat that you have in the day. So instead of doing like the 80-20 beef, that's kind of standard for most people, like get the 90-10 or the 93-7, and then just choose lighter versions of salad dressings. Because 2 tablespoons of salad dressing, like people usually use more than that, and even in that amount of serving, there's like 200 calories. So if you can just like
with really no nutritional value.
right.
So it's not filling you up any.
Yeah. So like if you just found like a lighter version, like the Bolt House Farms makes a ranch that's 50 calories for 2 tablespoons. So even if you use 4 tablespoons, it's still half of what, a standard serving of ranch would be.
Mm. For nighttime cravings, I just started using this, and also one of my clients uses it too. Brushing your teeth, like late night, you're starting to get some cravings. Oh, some bowl of cereal sounds really good right now. Just go brush your teeth, and that's really helped me because like I'm somebody. Right after I brush my teeth, I'm not going to eat something because I want my teeth to stay clean, obviously, and so that just crushes my cravings immediately, and just it's kind of just a mental thing.
Yeah, I can second that because I've had a snack like right before bed. I was like, oh, I'm really hungry. I'm gonna have like a little treat, and I'll eat the treat, and then like you still got a little bit of chocolate or whatever you have in your teeth, and you go brush your teeth. I'm like, why did I even just have that? The taste is gone.
Yeah,
like I just now all I can taste
nothing.
is my toothpaste, right? So it's like I don't know why I just did that. So maybe I might try that the next time I want a little treat. I'm gonna brush my teeth, and then I'll probably not.
It works.
Yeah, that's a good way to go about it. And then one tip, if you're someone who likes to do like the very all or nothing, like either cuts everything out or like is completely like overeating on treats and food, just try adding in a small treat every day. And so then that way you're not like trying to avoid it all the time. Like you're going to have it, so you can still look forward to it. You can still enjoy it. It's part of your diet, but it's maybe it's like this small of a bowl of ice cream or something like that.
I gotta do that.
Something very small, so then that way, you can still have your treat and you're not all or nothing with it.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's peanut butter and jelly sandwiches right now.
Yep.
There you go.
And it's not even that unhealthy, really, but they taste phenomenal, and I like them, and that's my nighttime snack.
Yeah.
Mine's Oreos. I guess for Christmas I got a huge present bag full of single serving, 2 Oreos in the thing.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and so now,
there you go.
yeah,
You
so
have
I
one of
can.
those and...
Yeah, but recently it's been like, okay, I'll just have one, and it's usually on the weekend. Then I'll have 2, 3, maybe 4. Depends on the day. But so I need to try, having just one sparingly throughout the week, a couple times.
And then it's like not as like special, you know what I mean? Like you're just like, oh, okay, like I'm just having like a little treat. Like it's not as like, oh, I have to avoid this. Like you have to use your mental powers to avoid it. And it's like, we're all the same. We're all human. Like all 3 of us, if we have it in the house, we're going to eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not special.
No.
I guess it shouldn't always have to come down to being disciplined, right?
No.
Yeah.
You got to save your discipline.
Set yourself up for success and not have to rely on discipline all the time.
Yeah. That's how the most disciplined people actually are, is that they actually set their environment up so that they don't have to use the discipline.
Their environment is a huge majority of it.
Yeah, that's from Atomic Habits.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So set your environment up for success, and then try to swapping out those little things. If you eat white bread, get whole grain bread. If you drink, pop, maybe you go to a different, carbonated drink for a little while, sparkling water or something like that. Or if you don't drink enough water, try setting water bottles at the 3 most common places you always go every day. Next to your coffee pot. Another little hack that I do is because I'm to and from the gym a couple times a day. I know you are too, but I try to have healthy snacks with me at all times. So I literally have got snacks here at the gym. I've obviously got snacks at home, and then I carry them in my backpack too. So if I get a craving or if I want anything or if I'm hungry, I've got available options. Usually it's RX bars or protein bars, banana. Like this morning, I brought my bread in, and I actually made a peanut butter and jelly because I was unprepared with breakfast because I thought we were doing our cold plunge. Turns out we are waiting, but so I just came prepared, right? So it's just having those little options available.
Like when we went golfing, you had 6 RX bars in your golf bag.
I take, everywhere I go, I've got to have snacks. Yeah, I eat every hour or 2. So if there's anything that lasts more than 2 hours, I've got to have a snack.
Yeah. Bring a protein bar, or I keep protein shakes here, just something easy to sip on during a class. Because if you do start to kind of get hungry, it helps tide you over before the next meal.
Yep.
But yeah, also trying to not go super long distances between your meals, because if you go into a meal starving, you're more likely to overeat and then continue to eat and like still want more food afterwards, because you've been hungry for so long. You're like, I got to get in food while I can. That's what your mind thinks when you spend 6 or more hours, depending on the person, how long. Like for you, if you went 3-4 hours without food, you would be like, oh my gosh, I gotta go and like find a snack right away, whatever the fastest thing is. And
It is.
So I ate at like 7 this morning. It's almost 11. I'm starving right now. Actually, it's probably closer to 7:30. I had my shake.
Yeah. So having like
So I get
something
hungry
small
quick.
every like 3 to 4 hours for like the average person would probably be a good goal. And they don't have to be like keep the meals smaller and just have like a nice small snack to kind of tide you over for the next meal.
Yep. 100%. Awesome. Well, hopefully this helps. I mean, we want to make it simple for everybody. And the biggest thing, though, is like, although these things sound simple and a lot of people might be like, wow, I don't think that'll work for me. Like, I want to get to this goal, faster, really fast. So they want to try these drastic changes. You got to understand that 95% of people that do a diet will revert back completely to where they started within the first 3 years. So like if you do some sort of program or diet, 95% of the people will revert right back, sometimes worse, in a year, 2 years, or 3 years, sometimes even faster than that. Sometimes it's like within 3 to 6 months, you've put all the weight back on.
Mm-hmm.
So making these simple habit changes are going to set you up for success in the long run, which is what we want to try to help people do. If you can't do it consistently, I say there's no point in trying to do it. So make sure you're doing stuff that's kind of within your realm or your expertise or like your confidence level. We just talked about using this confidence test. So like if you are going to try a new habit, ask yourself, am I 10 out of 10 confident that I can do this habit consistently? And if you're not, make it a little bit easier. So for some people, like cutting out pop every day might be a really impossible task. They're definitely not going to be 100% confident, but maybe it's, are you 100% confident that you could drink 8 ounces of water before you have a pop? That's a simple enough task. I can do that. So start with that and then build off of it.
Yeah. You almost want it to seem like ridiculously easy, because then you're like, I can do that. Like, that's no problem. Like, oh, okay. Like in the morning, just have a protein bar instead of a granola bar. All right. That's easy. Like I just buy that and take that to work instead of that. It's something very simple, but then over time is when it really builds up.
Yep. Awesome. Well, hopefully this helps you guys. If you have any questions or tips, or if you want to learn anything, feel free to reach out, comment, message us. We would love to have more ideas to help you guys get better results. Until next time, have an awesome week. Thanks again for tuning in to the Trainer Talk. If you are ready to gain back control of your health and fitness, we would love to sit down and chat with you to see if we can put together a plan for you. All you have to do is head to taylorhutchinsonfitness.net and book a free consult. Again, make sure you like and subscribe if you like the video, and hopefully we'll see you soon.